And welcome back, everybody, to another stream. I am Nomad Technician, and today we're just gonna chat a little bit. There are a couple of topics that I wanna probably should do this properly, because I did come up with a title for this, which is oh, it doesn't actually show me here. Great. Highly professional, yes, I know. Establishing connection, which is always the, as always, the chatting streams, chatting videos, 3 months of content. Yes, it's been 3 months for me, and questions of legalities. Today I want to talk about a couple of things. So, YouTube versus Twitch is one primary topic. I kind of want to talk about the differences of what I've noticed over the past 3 months, and there's a variety of things. Like Twitch and YouTube deal with things very differently, and that's something that is by design because of how the what the audience comes to for each platform. The second way, the second topic will be how to maybe not play games legally. That is, of course, you know, as a streamer, how do I stream games? How do I play games on the channel without infringing on copyright, not getting DMCA'd all the time, not getting copyright struck all the time, and how to find out what games I actually am allowed to play, which is a very, very interesting process. And then, if we can get to it, I kind of want to talk about the debacle with the payment processes, and maybe beforehand also about what happened to Vshojo, which is also, let's say, it's interesting, and I have a couple of opinions to that extent. Maybe we'll get to this. If not, I will probably do a separate stream for that. We'll see. But let's get started with YouTube and Twitch. And there are a couple of things that I've noticed on how things happen differently. And in the beginning, I didn't. The first thing that I noticed is that the level of entry into Twitch and YouTube is quite different. You wouldn't think so initially. Like, if you just want to stream, you can do that on both platforms. What do you have to do, really? Well, you just have to get the content for the stream, and then you just sit down and do it. Except it's not quite as easy on YouTube, because on YouTube, if you want the stream to get noticed, you kind of have to have a thumbnail. Like, that's not really something that you can get around. And if you don't have that, well, there won't be as many people clicking on your stream. that's just the truth of it. Like, if it's just a channel thumbnail, your little channel icon, it's probably not going to be as many people clicking on that. On Twitch, however, the thumbnail is auto-generated from the stuff that you're streaming anyway, which means it's always fairly representative of what you are actually streaming at that moment or over the past couple of minutes. And yeah, it's very easy. You just have to go live and do your thing. You set a title, no description necessary, no tags, nothing. Well, you have to set your tag that you want to stream on. In this case, it would be just chatting. Oh, well, we got a new follower. A very interesting name. Hello. I'm not gonna try to pronounce that name. That name is so interesting that I will check your account, because that looks a lot like a bot. I'm sorry to say. I am very much sorry to say. And it's a follow without having joined the... Why can't I do that? Oh no, you look... Huh. That actually does look genuine. Okay. Somebody very new. Well, it looks genuine at first glance, at least. We'll see. Sorry, I have had some bad experience with bots, so I am a little bit apprehensive. Anyway, where was I? Right. Yeah, YouTube and Twitch, the the way that they handle themselves and the way that they handle going live very, very differently. It's quite interesting. The one thing that I will note, however, is... Yeah, normally I should be able to do this. Oh. Well, we shall see. So YouTube initially seems to be a little bit off-putting, because like making the thumbnail will take, if you do it yourself, unless you have a lot of material or you are an artist yourself, this will take you somewhere between 30 minutes to an hour. As you progress, it gets easier, you learn what you have to pay attention to, but even just making the thumbnail, if you don't have any material, you have to look up stuff that is under either something that is under Creative Commons, or that has a license that actually allows you to do lots of free stuff that doesn't have any restriction on use, which is actually not that difficult to find if you go through the Wiki Commons. But the selection is quite small, depending on what you're looking for. Now, the second thing that I've noticed is how different people engage in content. So, for Twitch, if I do a live stream and there's like I stream for like 2 hours, maybe a little bit more, the recommendation is 4 hours, and this is the reason why. People might drop by after 2 hours, but if you're at the point where you've gone through what you wanted to do and you're about to stop, those two people might follow you if you engage with them, and the engagement is what people come to for Twitch? No. The engagement is what people come for to Twitch. That's the right way around. Good grief. And if you don't have that, people will not follow, people will not stay, people will not remain on your channel for that. So, what can you actually do to... well, how does that differ on YouTube? On YouTube, a good chunk of the engagement comes from people watching the VOD. The one thing that I'm not quite sure is how different the YouTube algorithm actually handles streams, like streams from the past, as opposed to uploaded VODs specifically as videos. And I'm not quite sure. That's something that I kind of want to go through, and I will show some of my channel content here. Something that I've noticed which was quite interesting. So, interesting part. My most successful video of all time on this is not what this looked like a while ago. Interesting. This number was a lot higher. That is very, very interesting. Oh, I think that is already filtered for the past couple of days. I'm not sure. Let me see. Because over the last 90 days, that should be a lot more. Yeah, okay. So that was already filtered. So, most successful video. Yeah, I have been... I haven't really done many videos after this one. This is one of the last ones before I went on a 1-month break, which is never good, but I kind of had to. But what happened basically is, this is something that I streamed. It was a big topic. I did, this is my first establishing connection, my first chatting stream, really. I did this, lots of impressions, as you can see. Click-through rate is below average. In fact, the highest click-through impressions to click-through rate is the Holocure Gachikoi list. This is actually the list. This is not a video, I don't think. Although it does say 44 minutes, I'm not quite sure. I'm gonna have to look at what this actually is. This might just be one of the... Yeah, this is actually one of the oldest videos, it would appear. Very high click-through rate. I don't know why, to be entirely honest. There were only 17 impressions. Now we are talking about hundreds or thousands of impressions at this point. And most of this was triggered by this video. Like the amount of impressions that I've gotten for this video was triggered by this one, which got for me, an exceptionally large amount of views. With a really high watch time at 90%. This is average. The 90% is average watch time. Quite a few people watched the entire thing. And this was done as a stream, but I then had to cut out a middle bit, and then as a result, it became a video. I don't know whether this is the result of like it becoming a video, is making it handled differently by the algorithm. Or whether that's just, this was a very popular topic at the time. Everybody had a look at this, and that's the result of that. So, no idea whether that's the case. Oh, that was not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do this. There we go. Not quite sure whether that is the reason for it. But the interesting part of this is, first of all, this is a stream. This was the first stream afterwards, and it got a lot more impressions. Again, actually a higher click-through rate, but abysmal watch time. I mean, this is an over 1 hour stream, and it got less than, well, the average watch time is 0.8%. with a total watch hours of 0.5. This is the total, same here as total, and this is the percentage watched on average. So less than 1%. 21% of all views, yeah, sure, but they didn't really watch it. So, got a lot of impressions as a result of the success of this one. But whether that success came from it being just a very popular topic at the time, or whether it was, sorry, this is actually the 89% of the total watch time, not of the time watched. But I checked through it, like 50% of people watched the entire thing. What was quite interesting is another thing that I quite, well, I'm gonna finish this. What I've seen on Twitch is that people drop by, they start interacting in the stream. If there is someone joining your stream, they generally talk, which is why I'm not very hopeful about the one person that was watching and now isn't anymore. So we'll see. But what I did notice is that there was always a high rate of engagement on Twitch. Whereas on YouTube, I did get one person. Of all these videos, I got one person that chatted with me. Of all these videos on Twitch, I got 3 people on stream that chatted with me. I haven't received a single comment on YouTube. I haven't received a single... Well, I have received a couple of likes on YouTube. And I've received a few subscribers. I think it's more on... I do believe it's more on Twitch than it is on YouTube. Quite a bit more, if I'm not mistaken. The rate of subscribers here is... And this is just rate over the last 90 days. If I go to lifetime, things will change a bit. I have 1 subscriber on YouTube. That's it. And I have 4 followers on Twitch. So the rate of engagement is a lot higher on Twitch. But if you're looking for views, and the rate of engagement also depends on YouTube and on Twitch, or on actually telling people, because people do forget to subscribe and like and ring the bell or whatever. And that needs to be said out loud so that people do remember they are incentivized. And it is also, although I, in the past as a viewer, I didn't really think much of it, but it is a tremendous motivator to the creator to have this engagement. We are after all social creatures, so that shouldn't come as too big of a surprise. What is interesting, another thing that I noticed about this switch to a video was, this was the first video, well, technically first stream, but yeah, first overall video that got copyright claimed. It got copyright claimed because, I need to quit this, I need to actually go to the content. It got copyright, and you can see here, only video, all the rest is like live stuff, including what we're currently watching. But this got copyright struck because of New Start. Now, as you can see, this is a Creative Commons. And it is a Creative Commons. It's actually published on multiple sites under the same license. Depending on where you got it, you will find that this link will be different on the website that you can download it from. The rest is identical. The title, creator, and the SoundCloud link are identical. The Creative Commons CC by 3.0, BY 3.0, and the link to the license are also the same on all the sites that I found it on. And yeah, I got copyright struck. I disputed it, and it got removed within slightly more than around about 24 hours, I think. So it wasn't a big deal, but the fact that I've basically published 15 50, well, 30, 40, 40-ish, 40-ish, 30-ish, 40-ish videos. And there's the 2 likes, by the way. On the one video, that's all I got. But yeah, that I got the copyright strike on the one video that is actually a video instead of a live stream kind of makes me question a couple of things. Yes, the copyright claiming on live streams is more difficult, but these are stored videos and they should be treated the same, but they're obviously not. So, interesting. Certainly, interesting thing to consider. Interesting thing to take note of. And I'm gonna be very interested in seeing how this video, how the stream will perform, because this is more this is more along the lines of hi ho, how you doing? This is more along the lines of what I published previously, which was very successful. Well, very successful for compared to my other stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how this chatting stream does, without porting it over into a video. Another thing that I've noticed and that I kind of want to do, but I don't really have the time for, is to make YouTube shorts. I do believe that they are the way to create, well, to basically advertise your content. And that's what I kind of want to use it for, but I don't really have the time to actually make them. Maybe if I find a way to do it more efficiently. But for the time being, I'll probably not go for it. Let's go over to the how to play games on stream without like breaking TOS, without breaking copyright, without breaking DMCA and all other things. And we'll start by immediately breaking the terms of service of a website. I would love to play Titan Quest 2 on stream. I probably never will. I have a bunch of other games that I love to play. I have a bunch of games that I have played. In fact, I can pull up a list quite easily. These 4 games is what I've... there's actually missing a couple, just realized. There's 2 games missing here. Holocure's missing, and another one that's missing is... oh god, what was it called? Airport CEO. These ones, the first 3 ones, basically have published guidelines that explicitly say we're happy for you to stream our game, even monetized. Deck 13 is the developer for. I've tried V-Rising. I've done like a first contact stream for it, and it is interesting. I see what the mechanics are for most of it, but I think it's best played with friends. It's one of those games where you kind of want to have motivation to get back to it on a regular basis. So it wasn't ideal for streaming, and I don't really have the time to do it on the side. So for the time being, that has kind of taken a backseat. Yeah. I think 2. Yeah, 2 is probably a little bit too few. Deck 13 are the creators of Atlas Fallen. They are, to date, the only company that I contacted and got a reply from. So I know V-Rising, they have it in the guidelines. Factorio, they have it in the guidelines. Captain of Industries, they have it in the guidelines. Airport CEO, they actually have it explicitly on the website that you can use the game for streaming. And yeah, Deck 13, I got some information back. The weirdest one, and this is why I brought up Titan Quest. The weirdest ones are THQ Nordic, and I'm gonna get into why in a moment. But just to list a couple of others that I wanted to play. I tried to get permission from the developers of Celestial Empire. Haven't heard anything back. I tried to get permission from the developers of Reka, because that looked like a really fun game. Haven't heard anything back. THQ Nordic is a little bit weird because it is, well, for one thing, it's a German company, so close to my heart. I am from Germany. But the one thing that I stumbled across was when I looked at their website, because the terms and conditions for their website are really weird. I browsed their website, I browsed the game to see whether they have anything stated on in their terms of service. I didn't really find anything in the terms of service for the game itself on Steam. So I looked on their website, and what I found is your use of material. You may access and display material and all other content displayed on the site for non-commercial personal entertainment use on a single computer only. Which means if you're browsing this website on 2 devices at the same time, you're breaking the terms and conditions of the website, which is quite impressive. Gotta admit that. That's a first. Because technically speaking, this isn't even download. This is use on a single computer. I know that what they probably mean is like downloading games from here, but that's not what it says. This is for all material. So the material and all other content on the site may not otherwise be copied, reproduced, republished, downloaded, posted, transmitted, distributed, saved, modified, publicly performed. So reading this is in breach of the terms and condition. I technically downloaded this because to display it in a browser it needs to be downloaded. I am now republishing it because you can see it on stream. So yeah, I'm already like I haven't really done anything with the content, but I've already technically broken the terms and condition, whether commercial or non-commercial. So it doesn't matter, even if it's non-commercial, not allowed, and that's specifically authorized by THQ Nordic. I don't think, because of what they write up here, I don't think they are really considering viewing the page as such as a breach, but that's not how it's written, so it's a bit weird. The specifically authorized, there's another aspect to this which I'm not quite sure whether they're kind of breaking their own terms and conditions, because they have a press releases part onto their website. Now, this implies that you can use this as like a commercial news agency of sorts. So so long as this doesn't say explicitly, it might be permitted, but it's a bit weird. Even better is, please read these terms carefully before using this site, which is difficult at best. I don't know. I don't know whether this is meant as a joke or something, but yeah. Since I couldn't find anything in the terms and conditions, I looked around on the website, and what I found was content creators, which leads to this lovely site, which is the THQ Nordic Creator Portal. This is technically the same site, thqnordic.com, same domain, so technically same legal terms. I don't know. So they do have this site. You can enter the portal, which will require you to kind of sign up to a third party. You can sign up with a bunch of stuff, but I've read through these terms of service, and there's nothing in the privacy policy, and there's nothing in there that makes me want to sign up here. It doesn't guarantee that you can actually play the game, or any of the games. It just restricts what you are allowed to do. Like there's no point where they say, oh yeah, and by the way, if you sign in, you get explicit permission to play all of our games on stream. Doesn't say that anywhere. I haven't signed up to it. I haven't signed anything as a result. I did, however, find a site on, I thought here, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was on the Lurkit thingy, where you could contact the guys. No, it isn't in here, funnily enough. Oh yeah, and same site, but different domain. So not quite clean in terms of separation, although you do have the Lurkit thing up here, so maybe that's just an integrated thing. I don't know. But it's not quite clean, and it's a bit weird altogether. Can you actually see? No, you can't see the Lurkit. So there's a Lurkit banner up here that kind of does. Can I actually get this to display? Hang on. I'd have to scroll that down a little bit and kind of extend this. Nope, not like this. Yeah, so there's a Lurkit thing up here. And if you look on the other side, there's nothing. So that is basically non-existent there. But yeah, this is in the Lurkit domain, which also you can't see. And this is in the THQ Nordic. So it's a bit odd. The way that I've been dealing with this, and it's basically there are enough games out there that I can play, which will have either very favorable terms or where you can just contact the distributor or the dev and they will answer. But generally, what I've found is the devs that want you to play the games, they will put that in their terms of service. And you're good. Again, what we had here was basically the only ones that I have gotten permission from was Atlas Fallen, and the rest was just free. I need to add Airport CEO. I'm gonna do that right now because this is basically the list where I've verified that I can play these on stream without issue. Yeah. HoloCure, I don't have the actual guidelines because it's a fan game and the creator has stated multiple times that they're fine with people playing it. But the rest, I have actually collected the stuff. Except apparently Airport CEO. It's probably still somewhere in my inbox and I haven't filtered it out. So much for how to play games. But yeah, this is very weird. I don't know what they were thinking. And again, I did find a contact somewhere. I can't seem to find it now. But it must have been. I think it was somewhere on here. It was in the contact. I think I went through the official contact, and I didn't hear anything back from them. So that was fun. So for the time being, I'm somewhat limited in what I can play until I've actually looked at more games. But for the time being, also, I have enough stuff to play. Like, I can play Factorio if I want to, or Airport CEO, or Captain of Industry. I'll probably get more into Captain of Industry, because I haven't played it since the... Well, I've only played it very shortly since the last update. Let's get to some... I haven't really used a lot of time. I just realized. Let's get into the debacle that was Vshojo, and all the things that I have considered since then, or reconsidered since then. I found it recently. I found it a lot that the companies that we are dealing with on a very public level are not run particularly well in a lot of ways. It seems to me that the idea of what the role of a company should be in terms of all the people involved has shifted in a way that is very destructive, is probably the best way to put it. It's not very good, it's not very constructive, it's not very healthy. It tends to be very bad for everybody involved. Vshojo is a good example. Niji Sanji is a very good example. The payment processors are a very good example, actually. And it's a lot of companies that go in that direction, and I don't get why. It's almost like people don't understand how a company needs to be run to work. And it's kind of baffling to me. But let's go through the... Let's go into VTubing as an example. So the way VTubing works is kind of unique, because you have a customer-facing company, like very customer-facing company. It's an entertainment company, obviously, and the way that can be run is traditionally very well explored, and it is very well established of what works and what doesn't. So I'm kind of... Again, it's kind of weird that we make the same mistakes, or people make the same mistakes as were made in other similar industries previously. VTubing is a little bit odd in that the people behind the VTubers themselves aren't customer facing as people, which has a number of advantages and disadvantages. But the one thing that is important is that from the viewpoint of the company, nothing much has changed. So let's say we're looking at other companies that are in a similar industry. A music company, for example. If you're a music company, you find a new talent, or you want to promote a new talent because you have identified a capacity in the market that you want to fill. So you hire someone that fits the role. For a musical company, you would look for people that have the capacity to perform in the way that you want. For a VTuber agency or VTuber production company, and there are differences there that I'm going to get into. You want to look for talent that is able to fill the role that you have open. As a VTubing company, no matter which, it's generally... Well, I say no matter which. As a VTubing production company, you will generate the model and to some extent the identity, and then you look for an actor that plays that role. That is the person behind it. For what I would call a VTubing agency, you would look for a VTuber, somebody that is already in that space, and you would hire them into your company, into your agency. So Hololive, for example, I wouldn't say is a VTuber agency. They are a VTubing production company. Someone like Vshojo would be a VTuber agency, or was a VTuber agency. For Nijisanji, I'm not sure. No, they would also be a VTuber production company. And then you have a bunch of others that are somewhere on that spectrum. Now, the important part is, and what differs here is the relationship between the company and the talent. And that is dependent, in my opinion at least, on how the IP is handled mostly, and how the talent is seen. So if the company owns the IP, then your employees are employees. That's all it is. Now that means a couple of things. That means as a company, you have to provide everything. Everything that is required to work, whether that's checking for permissions to play games, the hardware for playing games, the hardware for tracking, the software for tracking, all the equipment, all the software, all the management is on the company, because the people that work for you are just employees. They don't own the IP. They have no wider stake in the company than that. Also means you should be paying them a salary and then bonuses based on what they earn. That can be contractual, sure, but this is kind of a full package. And if you deviate from that, you're kind of muddling the water in what it is. So Hololive at the beginning, there was, and I don't know how much that was, because Hololive is one of the companies where the talents don't talk about it a lot. But if you look at, on the other end, Vshojo, there was a lot that was revealed recently. Nijisanji, there was a lot that was revealed about a year ago, well, yeah, 9 months ago by now. If you look at the differences, like Hololive, technically the talents are employees, like full-time employees. They don't own the IP. They do get paid a salary, even in the beginning. They get full support. They have a management team. They don't have to take care of their own merch. They don't have to pay for their own projects. As far as I'm aware, I know that there was some discussion about this, about reinvesting, like talents reinvesting into their own stuff. I would be surprised if that was a lot of money that they were required to put in. I think probably quite a few talents did, especially in the beginning. I don't think that is very common now. We did have the one that I found a bit weird was where Bay basically got she won a lottery, an in-company lottery, and got $1 million yen to do a project with. I think that was just, we have $1 million yen that we want to give to a talent to do a project, but not give, but it is a budget that they're getting for a project, whatever it is that they want to make. Like you have to go through some approval process, but it's not like we have to think about whether whether it's profitable to do this project, because you already have the 1 million yen as your budget. And that's one extreme, and I think that's very fair to do that. I think at that point, calling the person facilitating the talent interactions with the company a manager is reasonably fair. I still think that the term assistant would be better, but it is more acceptable as compared to the opposite case. So let's talk about that. And by the way, I do have my gripes with Hololive, especially with the stuff that they've done recently. Going public is, in my opinion, the worst thing that they could have done, and it has changed the climate in the company drastically. It has changed. It obviously has changed the way that that talents can interact with the well, it's probably not that. No, it's probably more like the way that the employees view the company, not just the talent, but the managers and the staff, because now it's a question of fulfilling what are they called? Fulfilling investors demand, instead of like working on bringing the company forward. And that's always a difficult thing, even if that's not the intention, and even if the majority is the majority stakeholder remains Yago for all eternity. The fact that it is a publicly traded company does mean that that the employees have in the back of their head, well, this is a publicly traded company. It's a very different thing as opposed to a private, family-owned, non-publicly traded, not publicly traded company. So, yeah, I think that was a really bad idea, and the flood of people that have, I say flood, it weren't that many, but it was a reasonable, a noticeable spike in people that have left the company. We know that Archan has left the company. We know that a bunch of talent have left the company. In the past year, it was more. In fact, this year, more talent than ever before have left the company in very short order, including their most successful talent for the second time. Dang it. I want to say Kiryu Koko was the first one. The first time that their most successful talent has left. And now Galgura also has left, as well as Shion and who else? Ame has left. I mean, Sana has left, but probably for different reasons. We don't know. But there's a good chance that there was a lot of politics involved, especially when it comes to Gura. I think her being the flagship VTuber had a bunch of restrictions put on her that she was not happy with. And but yeah, that's speculation, purely speculation on my part. I'll admit that. But it the way that she left and what she left us with, and that has given that impression, is all I'm saying. Yeah, let's talk about the opposite example. Let's talk about Niji Sanji and Vshojo. Let's start with Vshojo, because they were the opposite spectrum of Hololive. They were an agency, essentially. They collected people that already were VTubers. They all have their own IP. They didn't own, so the company didn't own the IP. It was the VTubers, or the talent owned the IP for their VTubers. And I'm not quite sure. I mean, it does mean a very different point of view, a very different how would you call that? Like subconsciously, it would give the company and the employees a very different stance on what the talent means to the company, because you are now a lot less you understand that the talent is a lot less invested in the company because they can technically leave at any point. But that also means that the reverse is true, because they are now very easily replaceable. You can just hire an indie. You don't have to invest as much money into funding a new generation, because you can just take someone on that is already established, or that already at least has their model, has their background. All of that is a lot of work that you don't have to do. Also, you now use talent fund to fund everything. So merch is paid for by the talent, and or should be at least. And what all the way that it should be done, and I'm not quite sure how it was done, but it looks like it wasn't done this way. The way that it should be done in this case is when a talent wants to do something, you give them an assistant or a team of assistants to do that, to facilitate that. That is your job. That would be the job. And it appears that that is not what happened with Vshojo. Sorry, with Vshojo. Vshojo itself bled a ton of money. I'm not quite sure, but we do know how they spend a lot of money on useless stuff instead of, well, I won't say instead of investing it into something useful, but they didn't need to. Like, they were a service company. They provided a service to VTubers, which is legal representation and facilitation of their operation, like organizing concerts and all that stuff. But why would they pay for that? I mean, you can go in there and go, for a larger cut of the revenue, we will provide you with the initial funds, because we know that the talent can't afford it to run their own concerts. So let's say we do a concert with 5 talents, 3, 4, 5 talents. We facilitate the corporation. We help with the organization, and we provide some additional funds, but then therefore we also get some additional money back for the merch sold on the venue or whatever. That's the way to do it. And I don't understand what they did to screw that up. I really don't. I'm sorry. It's a mystery to me. That they're now going to that talent and going, can you please invest some money into us, because we've wasted everything that we've gotten paid, including charity money. Like, there's some real legal trouble that they're currently in, and not just their CEO, like quite a bunch of people that were part of the company. Now that's already pretty bad. But then we had another company, and this is it's been a while, and I haven't talked about it before in great detail, but we did have a company called Nijisanji, which is still around technically, and they are, as I understand it, the worst of both worlds. So in HoloLive, because of the way that it's organized, I would expect that the company pays the majority or all of the costs associated with being a VTuber. And when we're looking at Vshojo, I would expect the reverse, that the talent pays for everything, because they are the people owning the IP. They get I would expect that they would get the majority of the revenue, unless there are contractual obligations that prevent that, like the company invests into a merch distribution and then they get a larger cut as a result. Sure. But that's a contractual thing. In Ichisanji, as we've learned by a certain bird, it was you didn't own your IP, and you had to pay for stuff to get done, and you didn't get any support from anyone if they didn't like you. So that is just insane to me. Like, what are you doing? You've done everything wrong. Like, everything you touched went wrong because you did it wrong. And I don't get it. Like, that's not a way to run a successful company. And well, we've seen the result. It's they have eaten a lot of their income as a result. Yeah, I don't get it. So, if I were to run a company like that, which one would I choose? Well, first of all, I don't have the money to run either of those. I don't really know, but it would be on one of the extreme ends. It would either be an agency, which is like a VTubing service company, where you hire the company to do stuff for you. Like, you sign a contract and you get a dedicated assistant, and they would just be an assistant. They would not be a manager in the same way. And I forgot to make that comparison. So let's get into the comparison with the music industry. If you're an established musical band and you're looking to find someone that quote unquote manages your events, they are an event manager, but you're the boss. They are your assistant. They are working for you as the band. Sorry, they are working as a manager, but they are employed by the band, who is the boss at that point. The band would have to own the IP. The band would have to have the final decision. Yes, you can facilitate some stuff as the quote-unquote manager, which is just an event manager or I don't even know what else to call it. But yeah, you would technically be an assistant of sorts. And that is probably the better way to run it. Especially if you don't have the income to immediately like launch several VTubers at the same time. I think that being the agency that has industry contact is the better way to do it. As for the reverse, like hiring, if you're looking again, if you're looking to the comparison to a music company, is there one? I guess it would be a sort of production company, but even that is not really fair, because you, even as a production company, well, I suppose, yeah, as a production company, you can hire like not very well-known talents and then give them an identity to work with, and send them to training. You would, as the production company at that point, you would sign a contract, and you would sign that you make sure that they get the necessary technical skills and education, and you give them a manager at that point that manages, their larger parts of their daily routine, helping with nutrition. I mean, all the things that you could also hire an agency for, but the difference is who is the one employing who. And that's kind of important. In fact, it's very important, because it changes a lot of things in contract law on who is getting hired by whom and who is liable towards whom. And yeah, that's the primary decision that you need to make. And yeah, I don't see in this kind of entertainment industry, I don't see the need to have the kind of production company, especially nowadays when it's so easy to produce stuff, as you can see. Like, everything that I've done has maybe cost me, it's cost me less than $500, which is still quite a lot of money. and I could have done it cheaper, but that's it. Like $500 and you can basically be a VTuber on the internet streaming and doing multi-channel streaming, and you're fine. Of course, I'd love to spend more money on this. Like, I'd love to have someone on retainer that does like thumbnails for me, that edits videos for YouTube, that makes shorts for me. That would be great. That requires a bunch of investment that I'm not willing to do yet. Maybe if I ever make money off of this. And yeah, all the money that I would be making off of this, at least in the beginning, would go back into the channel. So, hey, subscribe, become a member. No, not member. Follow, it's following on Twitch. Yeah. All the good stuff. Leave a like, leave a comment. Sure. I've got to set up any monetization that I can at some point, but for the time being, that's not the focus. Should we talk about the payment processor crap that we've gotten into in the past weeks with the very shouty people? I can't even remember what they were called. A bit of an odd take, I think, on this one. I think the payment processors have dropped the ball on this quite a bit. I think they didn't expect this type of backlash, and it will cost them a lot. Not just in money, but also in legal freedoms. Because now people will pay attention to what they're doing. And there are a couple of things that they have been doing that aren't quite legal everywhere where they operate. There are a number of parts of the German constitution that, at least some of which you could argue they have broken. And yes, we are talking about the German constitution here. I will have to read into whether the German constitution actually applies to everybody or just the German government. By everybody, I mean everybody operating in Germany. But I'm pretty sure that is the case. In the same way that well, no, I suppose the US Constitution only applies to the US government, not to any private entity. Anyway, why do I think that they will get into trouble? They have, well, it has now been made very public what payment processors can do, and that they are willing to misuse that power, which shouldn't come as too much of a surprise, really. But having that on the table now means that, and having a public interest in that means that there will be revisions of that, and there will be legal consequences to that. And if there are no current laws against what they're doing, then it's very likely that there will be laws coming. Especially since the largest payment processors, which would be MasterCard, Visa, and PayPal, they are not the only international payment processors, but they are the vast majority of the transactions goes through them in volume and number. And that they all are aligned in this way creates a monopoly that does... If it doesn't outright break a number of at least German or European laws, it comes so close that it doesn't make a difference in the end. Because there will be a reaction to that, and in my opinion, it can be one of two reactions. One is more oversight, that there will be a law actually forbidding the discrimination based on how would I put that? On things that aren't governed by law. which again, they might have already broken a couple of things here, at least when it comes to the German law. I'm not gonna go into that deeply. Let's just say that there are laws that prevent your average person from blocking international money transfers and transfer of goods outside of the legal framework. That's explicitly stated in the German constitution. You're not allowed to do that. That is in a part which discusses the interactions between the federal and the state level in Germany. But the way it's worded, it basically means it applies to everybody. And the same is true for some other things that they might have broken. We're talking Article 2.1, Article 5.1, Article 10.1, 14.1, 14.3, and 73.5. Some more than others. Some are more applicable than others. But they are getting very close to breaking those. So yeah, one of them could be an explicit law that prohibits that. Another one, and that is the one that I would personally prefer, would be that we get a public agency that handles money transfers, international money transfers, and not international money transfers. And that would actually be very interesting, in my opinion. A lot of people will say, well, I mean, that's not really something that we want. It's not really something that is good. But I think we did have that because we had a system called the EC card. It isn't around anymore, and it actually was discontinued since... Sorry, it was EC until 2007, and since then it was Girocard. And that was... Oh yeah, it was called Maestro. The Maestro function. That was a system that was, I think, only available in Europe, but it was available for international money exchange, international money transfer. And yeah, I'm wondering whether it was this essentially in Europe was one of the biggest counters to Visa and MasterCard. And I wonder whether the official discontinuation 2 weeks before all of this kicked off is any involvement. I don't think it is, but it is a curious coincidence. Let's just put it like that. And yeah, I think that the reinstating that on a wider level that isn't just European, but maybe, fully international, could be a very easy solution to the problem. And one that doesn't require, you can use the other payment processes if you want, but then we have one, because they are public, they aren't allowed to break that law. They have to follow those rules. And that's a very interesting thing to have and to be. And if you think, well, I mean, I don't want the government to know what, where and when I pay and where and when I transfer my money, sorry to tell you, they already know. Like, there is no secret in the banking system. I'm sorry to tell you, but especially on international transfers, they are monitored, fully monitored, all the time. Right. Yeah, I don't want to go into too much detail on that because I kind of if that is wanted, I'm happy to do it. I will then, in fact, if you want me to comment on any of the things that I've talked about today in more detail, please leave a comment on YouTube. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you are interested in more of this, follow on Twitch or subscribe on YouTube. I am online. Well, I am streaming multiple times a week. I wanted to finalize my streaming schedule on the weekend. I didn't get around to that. I'll try to do that this week, but I will have to commission someone to actually give me a visual for the schedule, so that might take a little bit longer to do. But I will probably have a list, and yeah, I'll probably have to set up a Twitter account as well, and I'll probably have to hire someone to organize all the information and make it available to you guys, because just doing it through this is probably not enough advertisement. So I'll have a look around. I am using Fiverr for that most of the time, but I will have a look around whether I can find something anywhere else as well. But yeah, that's it for the time being. It's going to be very interesting to see how this video does in terms of performance on YouTube. Otherwise, I will be back on... Ooh, is it going to be Wednesday or is it going to be Friday? I think this might be a week where I can stream on Wednesday as well, because every other week I can't. Thank you for that. Today is the 1st, yes. Yeah, this week is a week where I can actually stream, so I'll probably stream on Wednesday. I'm not quite sure what yet. If you are interested in seeing me play a game, any of these that are on screen right now, there we go, professional. Yeah, any of these guys, let me know, because you can't actually see me there. Any of these guys, I'm happy to play. Just let me go. Let me go. Let me let me know. Let me know what you would like to see, and I'm happy to do that. Or again, if you want me to do more like of the more yapping about stuff, I'm also happy to do that. But I will need more time to like gather materials. Not a Minecraft stream. I mean, if you're really interested in Minecraft, you could do a Minecraft stream. Sure, why not? But yeah, let me know. I'm happy to oblige in that regard. If not, I will definitely be streaming HoloCure once a week anyway. And then whatever comes up, basically, and whatever I'm interested in. I might actually be streaming World of Tanks fairly soon, because I think they have an update coming in for the version 2.0 or 0.2 or something. So that's gonna be interesting. I haven't played it in a couple of years at this point. But yeah, maybe I'll get back into that. Anyway, let me know. And yeah, follow me wherever you can. Until then, have a good one. Bye-bye.